Are you suffering from the brachial plexus blues? Do all these nerves to the upper limb have you feeling down? Well, take my advice. When in doubt, dance it out. In this video, we're going to be talking about the 5 terminal branches of the brachial plexus: the axillary, radial, ulnar, muscular cutaneous, and median nerves. We're going to learn the muscles that these nerves innervate and the actions that they help to perform. Then we're going to tie those movements together to create our dance. I'll call out the nerve and you'll do the dance moves. Starting with the axillary nerve. The axillary nerve provides motor innervation to the deltoid muscle. This muscle is most notable for its action of abducting the arm. Specifically, it helps with abduction from about 15 degrees out to the horizontal. Now, the initiation of abduction is actually performed by a different muscle, which is supraspinatus, innervated by the suprascapular nerve, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So, axillary nerve, deltoid muscle, abduction of the arm to the horizontal. So what are we doing for our dance move? A simple abduction. Something like this. Now moving on to the radial nerve. The radial nerve is known for its motor innervation of both the posterior compartment of the arm as well as the posterior compartment of the forearm. The muscle of the posterior compartment of the arm is the triceps. The triceps muscle actually has 3 heads, hence its name. Now those 3 heads come together to cross over the elbow joint. So collectively, these 3 heads participate in extension of the elbow. One of the heads, the long head though, does indeed also cross the shoulder joint. So it comes over and crosses the shoulder. So it can also participate in some actions of the shoulder, namely extension. Moving into the posterior compartment of the forearm. Now there are a lot of muscles that comprise this compartment, and I don't think that we need to get into each one of those individually. But as a whole, we can say that they work together to perform a few functions, namely extension of the wrist and extension of the fingers at the metacarpal phalangeal joints. So what's our dance move when I call out radial nerve? We're going to put all of these moves together and it will look something like this. What do we have going on here? We have a little bit of extension of the shoulder, a lot of extension of the elbow, extension of the wrist, as well as extension of those fingers. Moving on to the muscular cutaneous nerve. This nerve is known for its motor innervation to the anterior compartment of the arm. There are 3 muscles in this compartment: biceps brachii, brachialis, and coracobrachialis. Biceps brachii as well as brachialis both cross the elbow joint, and they work together as very powerful flexors of the elbow. Biceps brachii has an added function though, which is going to be supination of the forearm. This makes sense. If you think about bicep curls at the gym, how do you perform them? You flex the elbow, but you add a little supination at the end to fully engage that biceps muscle. What's our dance move for the muscular cutaneous nerve then? Good old bicep curls. It'll look something like this. Moving on to the median nerve. The median nerve is known for its motor innervation to the anterior compartment of the forearm. Now, this isn't completely true because there are a few exceptions. There's 1.5 muscles that are in this anterior compartment of the forearm that are not innervated by the median nerve. They're actually innervated by the next nerve that we'll talk about, which is the ulnar nerve, but we'll get to that in a minute. So again, there are a lot of muscles in this anterior compartment, and I don't think it's very useful to get into the details of what each muscle is individually, but as a collective, these muscles are going to work together to flex the wrist and flex the interphalangeal joints. Our dance move for this nerve is going to look like this. We could call this the come to median dance move. And lastly, we have the ulnar nerve. The ulnar nerve is known for its motor innervation to the intrinsic muscles of the hand. We can group these muscles into several different categories. One is going to be the interossei muscles. So that's going to include both the palmar and the dorsal interossei. The ulnar nerve also innervates the lumbricals. Again, this isn't completely true because it only innervates the ulnar 2 lumbricals, whereas the more radial to radial placed lumbricals are innervated by the median nerve. The ulnar nerve also innervates the hypothenar eminence. These are a group of 3 muscles right at the base of the pinky that help to move the pinky. So they're going to help with flexion as well as abduction as well as opposition of that pinky. And then lastly, as we introduced this idea in the previous nerve, the ulnar nerve also has some contributions to that anterior compartment of the forearm. So it is going to innervate the flexor carpi ulnaris and the ulnar half of the deepest muscle, which is that flexor digitorum profundus. For our dance move, we're going to highlight the function of 2 of these groups of muscles. One, the lumbricals. The lumbricals are responsible for flexion of the metacarpal phalangeal joint while extending the interphalangeal joint. The interossei muscles are responsible for abduction and adduction of the fingers. So for our dance move, we're going to platform the face using those lumbricals. Then we're going to jazz hands using those dorsal interossei. So our dance will look like this. So are you ready to dance? You ready to put this to music? I'll call out the nerve, you do the dance. Let's do it. Start with the axillary nerve. Moving to radial. Muscular cutaneous. Good old flexion and supination. Median nerve. Come to median. Ulnar. Engaging those lumbricals and dorsal interossei. Now randomize. Muscular cutaneous. Median. Radial. Axillary. Ulnar. Muscular cutaneous.
There's just some things that never change. You say we're just friends, but friends don't know the way you taste. La la la.
Axillary.
Time coming, don't you let me fall. Open your lips and dress me hooked on your tongue.
Ulnar.
Your kisses deadly, don't stop. I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could
Radial.
I didn't need ya, but every touch is ooh la la la.
Median.
Ooh, I should be running. Ooh, you know I love it when you call
Axillary.
me señorita. I wish it wasn't so damn hard to leave ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true love.
Muscular cutaneous.
Ooh, you keep me coming for ya. All along I've been coming for ya, and I hope it meant something to ya.
Median.
Call my name, I'll be coming for ya, coming for ya.
Radial.
For ya. Oh, she loves it when I call for ya.
Axillary.